Hey everybody, good evening. This is Susan Newton, joining you again from Atlanta, Georgia. Down here doing some work and helping to take care of a friend while she recuperates a little bit. Anyway, welcome and so glad you joined me tonight. I will be doing the Facebook Lives from my Susan Faye Newton page from now on. I have learned that that would be a better way for me to get the information out there and make use of the page that I have. So anyway, before we go any further, I'd like to set the intention that it is with purity of intention and unconditional love that we request and receive divine and pure insights, wisdoms, and truth, and that all things come forward in a manner in which they're able to be clearly understood and integrated into your everyday life for your path of best destiny and your ability to walk with an open heart and clear communication. All right, so the topic tonight is, are you speaking well wishes or ill wishes? So the other day, yesterday morning actually, I guess sometimes I lose a little bit of track of time here, we talked about forgiveness, and I shared with people how you can actually lift yourself up and out of the forgiveness place and just remember that all things are what they are, they were what they were, and it is what it is. And when you're in that spot, you are not judging something, and so therefore there isn't a need to forgive it. More, there is the need or the desire and the choice to observe it, work with it, and move beyond it in a way that's more useful, using that as a foundation for a solution. So sort of bringing that into this conversation, piggybacking on that, are you speaking ill wishes or well wishes, right? We all use words in a manner in which we communicate. And how are you communicating? When you say something like, well, what goes around comes around, or something to the effect of, well, he'll get his or she'll get hers, or you know what karma is, you know what that means, that'll come back to bite you in the butt. Anytime you're saying things like that, you're actually inviting that exact same thing to be the case for yourself. And so it's an invitation to pay close attention to how you communicate and how you speak to people, how you speak to things. That's one example of it. Another example of it would be to how do you communicate with somebody who has a diagnosis or a label that's been placed on them in some way, whether it's an opinion label, someone's opinion that they've labeled on someone, or a medical diagnosis, or emotional mental health diagnosis, or an intellectual label. You know, we tend to categorize people in our world, and that can be very useful. But it's my invitation for you tonight to think before you speak when you are interacting and communicating with these labels that are placed on people. So instead of just automatically interacting with the label that's been placed or given, or that your opinion is a label, why don't you go ahead and speak back to it in a different way so that you are well-wishing rather than ill-wishing? And instead of just assuming that because that label is placed there, that it's the end-all be-all and that you're going to support the label. Instead, have the remembrance that there's supernatural occurrences that happen all the time, every single day. There are supernatural occurrences and experiences that are brought forward into labels that you would think are limitations. And so when you lift those limitations by the way that you communicate and by the way that you interact with certain situations, then you're speaking well wishes. It's a different form of communicating and interacting in a way that allows you to be loving and kind and supportive, and in remembrance of the limitless world that we live in. An invitation for supernatural things that may not be in your awareness to flow in. And an invitation can be sent just in that level of awareness that you have to know that it's possible. Even if you've never seen it before in your own life, all you have to do is pick up the newspaper, pick up a book, turn on the radio, and you will absolutely discover where there are supernatural things occurring, where somebody, for whatever reason, should have seemingly been killed in an accident, but they miraculously survived, or someone who was giving a diagnosis and a small amount of time to live, and they've outlived it and lived a very, very full, long life, or someone who seemed to be whatever. You can fill in the blank in probably a million different ways, and yet beyond that limitation, the people around them were speaking well wishes into them, unconditionally loving prayers and invitation for the knowing that things are possible beyond what the label is, or beyond what it appears to be, beyond what it seems to be, or maybe beyond what your experience with that has been in the past. Remember that you can have a different experience in this very split second of every moment. And when you do that, you are wishing well wishes rather than ill wishes. And it's not to say that you're ignoring something or you're sticking your head in the sand. It's not about that. It's just about being open to having something different occur. Remembering that something different is on its way. That in this moment is not concrete. It's temporary. And there is something different on its way than what you're seeing. So that's the invitation. That's what I'm talking about as far as bringing forward well wishes rather than ill wishes. And just to pay attention to that, so that you're not just doing it for others, but you're also doing it for yourself. Because when you are in that state of mind and in that state of awareness, you're able to become it through your thoughts, through your words, through your behaviors, and through your actions. And when you do that, you are able to shift your feeling place, right? So bringing back to what I always share with fresh perspectives, I'm bringing you a fresh perspective to think about the words that you speak over people. Think about the words that you're saying with response to, or in relationship to, or in reaction to a circumstance or a person. And remember that that person is part of who you are, and you are part of who they are. And in that very split second and in that moment, you have the ability to be something different than what you're observing, to give that person the benefit of the doubt, to separate a person or an individual from their behaviors. So remember that people are not their behaviors. Their behaviors oftentimes are things that have been conditioned into them through their life experience. And often they haven't learned how to be something different than that yet. And so if you speak well wishes over them, even just giving them the benefit of the doubt and remembering, wow, that person's behaviors are unacceptable, or those person's behaviors are beautiful, whatever the case may be, but remembering too that everybody is capable of all things, and that they are not separate, but they are not their behaviors. Their behaviors don't have to define them. Their behaviors can just be what is occurring in that moment. So that's the invitation. That's the fresh perspective for the evening. Those are the messages of empowerment. I hope that makes good sense to you guys. I seem to have a weak connection here and there. I'm in an area of the house that I think just doesn't have a real strong connection, but hopefully that resonates. Let me know when you guys are listening to what you're hearing as it resonates, to give thumbs up and smileys. And always so glad to be chatting with you. I just saw another person join in. I'm not able to see who you guys are tonight. I'm not sure if that's because I'm on my Facebook page or if it's just the connection. But in any event, thank you for joining. Oh, hi, I see you there. Thank you. And as you go ahead and listen back to it, if you've just joined in, be sure and go back and listen because it's important information. Just to recap a little bit, I've been sharing with you about paying close attention to if you are well-wishing through your words or ill-wishing through your words, and that your words and how you speak to people and how you speak about people and speak over people, the combination of words that you put together represent your feelings. And so when you speak words, you are literally sharing with people how you feel about yourself, how you feel about your own experiences and your own circumstances. And so when you are sending ill wishes, you're not really sending them to another as much as you're sending them to yourself. So when you're saying, oh, well, what goes around comes around, remember that you're speaking that over yourself as well. And instead of understanding and recognizing that we all make choices sometimes that maybe weren't useful in the moment, but they were to the best of our ability, and to be understanding and aware of that as each of us learn something different, we're able to choose differently. So if you give people that benefit of that doubt and you allow yourself with an open heart to remember that every person is not their behavior. Their behaviors are an outcome and an outpouring of what they've experienced in their lives, what's been handed down generation after generation. And as you remember that, you're able to speak well wishes and have an open heart with an unconditional love, with an invitation to allow people to become more of what they truly naturally probably are from the inside out. The other thing that I'd like to share real quick, just a fun little analogy. If you could imagine tug of war going on, and there's either one person on either side of the rope, or there's a group of people on either side of the rope, however large the group can be or not be. And the tug of war is only able to continue as a battle as long as both sides are pulling. As soon as one side puts the rope down, that battle ceases to exist. And so that's in essence what I'm inviting you to do. I'm inviting you to put the rope down, to pay close attention to how you speak over things and use phrases like, well, although I don't understand that, I know that everything is in divine order. I know that all is well. I know that will be used for my path of best destiny, or that will be used for their path of best destiny. Or I know that healing is on its way. Or I know that prosperity is on its way, that this situation is just what I'm experiencing in this moment, and a different situation is on its way. So as you do these things, you create a level of peace within yourself that allows you to more fluidly move forward. So that's the invitation. So grateful that you guys joined me. I hope you're all having a great, great, great evening. That was the fresh perspective for this evening, or fresh perspectives, and hopefully some messages of empowerment that allow you to move forward in your life in a different way. All right. You guys have a great evening. If you want to find out more information about me and or schedule a session, you can go to SusanFayNewton.com. That's SusanFayNewton.com, and find out more about me. I would love to hear from you. Would love to come to wherever you are and do an event or have a session, do a lot of sessions over the phone. Or if you'd like to buy my book, you can contact me through the website and or give me a call. All right. You guys have a great night.